Oh, before we get started, I'm going to mention again that we all acknowledge that this meeting is being recorded. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters, guests, honored guests. I know we skipped last week's meeting. We had a sort of a break. Hopefully we were all able to be joyful and grateful for our Thanksgiving weekend. I could tell you myself, I am thankful to be able to meet with you guys again. As we start another meeting, I say the same thing as I do at the beginning of each meeting. Let's do our best to avoid any distractions from the meeting. Let's continue with our Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Now, let's pass this meeting to our President, Sasha Stewart.
All right, good evening. Hopefully everyone had a wonderful Thanksgiving with family and friends, and hopefully everyone also stayed safe and social distance. Before I begin, I know we have no guests today, but we do have a new member, Woodland. Woodland and I had a discussion about him being a member, and I could see the greatness in him. I could see him as a very powerful speaker, and it is my duty, I'm committed with him to have a weekly call and to get him there to the place where he needs to be. So thank you, Woodland, for joining our team. Thank you for joining our family, and hopefully we're able to transform you into that man that you wanted to be. All right, since we have no guests, I will pass the meeting over to our Toastmaster of the day, the one and only Micheline Nembard, who will be conducting our meeting. Micheline?
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters. And Woodland, we're so happy to have you. The theme of the meeting is joy and gratitude. And I could not be more grateful for knowing a group of people like you, the Wellington Toastmasters. I must say this weekend was one of most exciting weekend because we had a long weekend and the holiday. But I am thankful for those who jumped in, who are stepping in tonight. Most of the speeches are done within less than 24 hours. So I am grateful for you stepping in as Toastmasters. And this is a true Toastmasters you are for rising to the occasion in such a short notice. So I thank you. As we move on, as your Toastmaster today, my role is to serve as the Master of Ceremonies. For the benefit of our guests and our new member, Woodland, a traditional Toastmaster has 3 sections: formal speeches, table topics, and evaluation. I encourage you this evening to give a feedback to all our speakers using the chat feature, whether it's 1 or 2 positive things that you like about the speeches or the speakers, and anything that they can improve on. Throughout the meeting, our members have the opportunity to practice their listening, critical thinking, and management skills by serving in various roles. My first person we will give the invocation is Toastmaster Sasha Stewart.
Thank you, Micheline. Okay, so I thought today would be a perfect opportunity to really focus on hope. Sometimes things happen in life and sometimes you feel nihilistic, and hope is necessary. So I wanted to share this quote from one of my favorite people, Michelle Obama. It says, "You may not always have a comfortable life, and you will not always be able to solve all the world's problems at once, but don't ever underestimate the importance you have." because history has shown us that courage can be contagious and hope can take on a life of its own. Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you. That is powerful. Hope. That's all we need. As we move on, we will move to the next role, our counter. Toastmaster Shay, please give us the role of the our counter.
Thank you, Toastmaster Micheline. The purpose of the I counter is to note any word or sound used as a crutch by anyone who speaks during the meeting. Words may be inappropriate interjections, such as oh, and, but. I will give a report at the end of the meeting. Thank you, Toastmaster Micheline.
Thank you, Toastmaster Shay. Toastmaster Shashri, please give us the explanation of a grammarian.
Absolutely. Okay. Oops. Where is it? Where is it? Oh, hold on 1 second. Sorry about that. Can't seem to find it. Where are you, script?
I can give you the script. Would you like me to do that for you?
Yes, I had it on my, for some reason it just disappeared.
That's okay, I can do it. Grammarian, one of the benefits of Toastmasters to help people improve their grammar and word
I
use.
got it now.
Okay, go right ahead.
Yeah, all right. One benefit of Toastmasters is that it helps people improve their grammar and word use. Being grammarian provides an exercise in expanding listening skills. I have several responsibilities: to introduce new words to members, to comment on language used during the course of the meeting, and to provide examples of eloquence. The word of the day is veneration, means great respect or reverence. Used in a sentence, in his personal relationship to the prophet, he showed the deepest veneration and most unwavering devotion. Please feel free to use the word of the day. Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you. Timer. Toastmaster Michelle Gonzalez, please give us your role as a timer.
Toastmaster of the day. I'm responsible for monitoring time for each speaker. I operate the timer signal to indicate speech length. Timing begins with the first definite verbal or nonverbal communication with the audience. As a general timer, whomever is speaking and has control of the meeting, please pay attention to the red color. 1 second.
You see the red?
Good. As this means you get to wrap up where you are as quickly, professionally, and efficiently as possible. Thank you. Toastmaster today.
Thank you. And our final role this evening is General Evaluator, Toastmaster Young Green.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster of the day. My role as General Evaluator is to evaluate the meeting from the beginning till the end, starting with welcoming guests. Tonight we don't have guests, starting with that and all the way to the evaluation. Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Toastmaster Young. We are moving into the first part of our meeting this evening is formal speeches. Let me double check Yes, we are good. Okay. Which are prepared speeches based on specific project in our Pathway program. This evening, we have 3 speakers. I must say, thank you, speakers, for stepping up. Our first speaker is Tim Morrell, and Toastmaster Sujana Toladar will be his evaluator. Susanna, please explain the project for Toastmaster Tim.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the Day. Tim Morrell's pathway is dynamic leadership. He's at level 1, evaluation and feedback. His speech is going to be anywhere between 5 to 7 minutes. And title of his speech tonight is Pre-Existing Conditions. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Sujana. Tim is stepping in, so I just selected that for him. I know he's a seasoned Toastmaster, and this evening he's going to be sharing the topic on pre-existing condition. Timer, please demonstrate the timing signal. The speech length is 5 to 7 minutes.
Toastmaster of the Day, at 5 minutes, the green background will be shown. At 6 minutes, the yellow background will be shown. At 7 minutes, the red card will be shown. And at 7.3 seconds, I'll clap the speaker off. Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you, Toastmaster Michelle. Tim, you have the floor. Thank you so much.
Tim, you're muted.
There you go.
All right, looks like it's done now. Let's just say that right now you had a property that was on fire. I was going to start off with saying, imagine your house was on fire, but I don't want anybody doing that. It's Thanksgiving, we've had enough things to worry about. But imagine you have a property right now that was on fire and also that you didn't have any fire insurance. How great would it be if you could just go and buy fire insurance right now as your property was burning to the ground? Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, our new Toastmaster. That right there is one side of a two-sided coin of why the whole situation with the healthcare, Obamacare, the Affordable Care Act, whatever you want to call it, why the GOP, the Republican Party, has not been able to find a replacement, or will never be able to find a replacement unless they want to go to socialized medicine for the Affordable Care Act if they still want to guarantee coverage for pre-existing conditions. The other side of the two-sided coin here, the first side is, what insurance company would be stupid enough to sell you fire insurance if your house is already burning down? How can they stay in business? How could any private company stay in business like that? But the other side of that same coin is this. Why would anybody go out and spend their hard-earned money? Why would anybody spend any money at all on fire insurance if they could just wait and never buy fire insurance unless their house was burning down? Right? I mean, it's two sides of the same coin, but it illustrates the huge issue that we have with health insurance, and why, if you want to have private health insurance as opposed to socialized medicine, and you want to have it cover pre-existing conditions, there really is no alternative to what the Affordable Care Act is. And what is it? It allows private insurance companies to still exist, but the only way they could do it is if everyone either has to buy insurance, or they have to, if they don't want to buy insurance, they have to still pay in to support the plan. And why is that? Because you have to think, first of all, about what insurance is. Insurance is spreading the risk. Insurance companies are very good at maintaining their data and knowing what all of the risks are, what all over dozens, decades of years. They know approximately how many fires happen. They know where they happen. They know what the risks are. The same with health insurance. They've got vast databases about when you get to a certain age, what you're most likely to have, what it's going to cost. They have vast databases of knowledge of this. And so they know what the risks are. But the only way that somebody my age now could be able to afford health insurance for things that come up as you start to get into my age bracket, you start to, when I was 21, I got a car. When I was 61, I got a cardiologist. True, no lie. That's what happened to me. And some of you know about my car crash a couple of years ago. I was 61, cardiologist. Yes, never had one before. Now I do. How do I afford that? How can an insurance company afford to pay that? Well, only if the younger set, my kids, the kids who are still in school, if they have to have insurance the same as me, if we all have to have it, then the average cost goes down. That's how insurance works. Wow. So the Affordable Care Act was actually not, it's sort of a misnomer to call it Obamacare. Obama kind of hijacked it, really. He hijacked it from Mitt Romney. Mitt Romney was the governor of Massachusetts, Republican governor in Massachusetts. And he is an executive with a very well-to-do, multi-billion-dollar company that's an investment company. And he hired the best and brightest that he could think of to come up with a way to guarantee affordable health coverage for those citizens of Massachusetts. And what he came up with was essentially the guts of what is the Affordable Care Act, which Obama took and made that into a national thing. But if you think about it, is there any possible way that a health insurance company could be on the hook for your pre-existing conditions, whatever they are, and make it affordable to you if everybody didn't have to pay in? If people could just wait until they get sick to buy in, which was what the Republicans recently did. They did away with the mandate, quote unquote, that people have to buy insurance. And they did away with the penalty, the tax that you had to pay if you didn't buy insurance. Well, if that happens, how could any private business stay afloat? It can't. And that is why for the last 10 years, ever since the Affordable Care Act came in, Republicans have been saying they're going to repeal, they're going to replace. And over 70 times they've tried to repeal it, but they never once have come up with a replacement. Why? Because the logic of it, the common sense of it is there's no way to replace it. It essentially was a Republican plan to start with. It was a businessman's plan to start with. And unless you're going to have socialized medicine, have the government take over everything, taxpayers pay for everything, there's no other way to guarantee coverage for pre-existing conditions. Why am I bringing this all to you? Well, I've been asked to be a 2-minute speaker for a number of civic groups. I'm an elected member of the Democratic Executive Committee here in Palm Beach County. And somehow or another, my name got out as a speaker who happened to have studied healthcare economics in college for quite a long time. I won some awards in that department, and I went to college a long time ago, but nothing has changed. Matter of fact, I start off most of my talks with a quote from Walter Cronkite, 1971 CBS TV anchor, who said that the American healthcare system is neither healthy care nor system. What's changed? What has changed? And so my people in the DEC have asked me to give talks to try to explain it to people. They felt like the way I talk about it, my understanding of it helps the regular person figure it out, and maybe we can all get along. Madam General Evaluator.
Thank you, Toastmaster Tim. That was beautiful. I'm familiar with healthcare. I work in, I'm a benefits analyst, so I work in healthcare, so I'm familiar with pre-existing conditions. So thank you for sharing that information with our group this evening. we will move on to our second speaker this evening. Our second speaker is Mark Kessler, and Mark evaluator is Toastmaster Jack Miller. Jack, please give us the project description for the second speaker.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters. Today, Mark will humor us in a little talk called Humor and Life Changes. This will be his third speech, and I think you'll find just about every one of Mark's speeches will be humorous, even if they're serious. So, Mark, we welcome you aboard, and let's hear it.
So let me give Mark's introduction. Please welcome Mark Kessler as he describes his approach to life challenges through humor. Mark will explain why he chose this path to make it through life challenges. Mark is married for 37 years and has 2 sons. Please give a warm welcome as Mark attempts to share his way of being in his request to enjoy life challenges. Mark Kessler.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and distinguished dignitaries. This is a very important subject, I should have you know. First of all, have you ever experienced a toilet seat that you sat down on that slid to the right or left? Raise your hands, please. I have. It's a very scary situation, not one to be dealt with lightly. Beyond that, it's a challenge. And how do we face challenges in our lives today? That's the key. Do we face them with anger, fear, frustration? Or do we face them with acceptance, love, or humor? That is my point for this evening's speech. Let's start off with the fact that my wife has had to remind me 3 different occasions that the toilet seat has been loose. To my surprise, I was oblivious. I was anxious. And then it became hilarious to the fact that why is my toilet seat continuing to loosen up time after time? Obviously, it wasn't me. I'm fixing it correctly. It's my guests that are visiting my home. Thus, set me into my next stage. The toilet is the centerpiece of our lives, aside from our kitchen. Wouldn't you agree? I have an enormous veneration for my toilet, and I would believe that you all have one as the same. It's where I solve some of my most valuable challenges in my life. It also allows me to let go of what does not serve me anymore. No pun intended. My quest for tonight's evening speech is about joy and gratitude. The first thing that came to my mind, what would Shastri do? Then I sat and pondered on it for a moment. This is a great question to ask Shastri. I should have really called him up. But the guy's so busy, it's really hard to get a hold of him. I became obsessed with asses. Sorry for my language, but that's what I'm going to have to tell you about. I'm going to share with you in 3 steps, the challenge, the approach, and the solution to my problem. But I approached it with humor, pure joy. I was elated, and excited to get on with this quest. So first, the challenge. How do I figure out how this toilet, which has a bidet attached to it, is thus getting loose all the time? The mind started thinking. I came up with some great ideas. I went directly to my garage for the approach. Read a couple Steve Jobs books and knew I was on my way. I was about to create the assometer. The assometer was a technology never once described or invented in our day and age. It had gyros, motion cameras, sensitivity weight sensors. The reason being is because I had to find analytics to show me what was the cause of my toilet seat shifting. Now, of course, Stacy asked me, are you going to let people know that you've installed all this equipment on your toilet? I said, absolutely not. This is my data. I need to know what's going on. So sure enough, over a period of time, I found out improper weight distribution from people just coming in like rocket ships. There was improper seating changes when they were going to finish their business, left to the right, right to the left, if they were right-handed or left-handed, all different matters. I was collecting data, valuable data. Then I was also the video camera, which I needed a wide ass lens for some situations. But what it showed me was the fact that people used a lot of toilet paper in my house. And there wasn't a reason for it because there was a bidet valve right next to their seat. They wouldn't even need yours, all that. But it did give me a lot of valuable information. And the solution was a 20-minute video that I made everybody watch prior to using my toilets. It showed them proper etiquette, how to sit down on the toilet seat, use proper weight distribution. Don't be in such a rush to shift to the right or the left because that has a lot of torque on a toilet seat, especially the way they're made these days. But it was invaluable. I had a lot of people that actually appreciated the video. They didn't realize that they were so rough on toilet seats after all. But here's what I want you to know. And this is a quote. Challenges are what make life interesting. Overcoming them is what makes life meaningful. So I ask you, what will you do when the time comes that you have challenges in your life? Will you get your ass all puckered up? Or will you let it pass like the wind? These are the questions that we should all sit and ponder upon while we sit on the toilet and come up with some great solutions to our day-to-day problems. And remember, be nice to your toilet seat. It's very nice to you. And I complete this speech tonight with a huge appreciation and joy of gratitude of my toilet seat and all of my fellow Toastmasters. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster. Thank you very much.
Okay. Toastmaster. Toastmaster Mark. I'm sorry. I'm trying to compose myself. Thank you for doing that speech this evening. We really needed humor. And I must say you have to sign up for our next humorous speech contest. I'm looking forward for you being #1. So thank you for that. And now I know that I cannot come to your house to use the toilet because I do not want to be recorded. So thank you. We're going to move on to our third speaker. That was really great. Thank you. Our third speaker is Toastmaster Sonia Garate, and evaluator is Toastmaster Ray Melendez. Ray, please give us the project plan for Sonia's speech. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. Sonia will be making a speech on pathways under research and presenting. Her speech will be 5 to 7 minutes. I'm excited to be doing my first evaluation with our phenomenal Toastmasters, Sonia.
Awesome. Sonia's title of the speech is Trust Your Gut. As a mother of 3, gut feeling or intuition is not new to Sonia. But does she always follow the advice of her gut? Tonight, Sonia will share an experience when she had a gut feeling, decided against it, and the consequences had followed. Toastmaster Sonia.
When was the last time you had a very strong gut feeling? Think about it for a moment. Good evening, Toastmasters. Let me set the scene. It's a weekday. I'm at home with my 3 kids, and I have just put my youngest, who is a baby, down to sleep in her crib. As I'm tucking her in, I think, wow, there's lots of noise today, and it's coming from outside. So I go out to see what's happening because I'm thinking she may not sleep very long with all of this ruckus. My neighbors, who are usually very quiet, are making a lot of noise that day. I look over the fence and this is what I see. A very tall tree in my backyard that's been there for the entire 10 years I've lived in my house has one guy at the bottom with a chainsaw, another guy on the side with a rope tied around the tree. And I think they are attempting to cut down this tree. It is a coconut tree. And what I observe in that split-second shot is, number one, these are not my neighbors, so I assume that they've been hired. These two men are men of a certain age, so I presume they're experienced. This, hopefully, I presume, would not be the first tree they have cut down. And also, I observe that the coconut tree they are cutting down is very top heavy. So if you ever walked below a coconut tree and thought, oh, I hope a coconut doesn't fall on my head, imagine not one, but multiple bunches on this tree, and you're cutting from below. I observed this, and my gut reaction in that moment was, they have no control over where that tree is going to fall. And based on the height, this is a risk to my life and my property at this moment. At that exact moment, my boys, who are in elementary school, at home at the moment, were in the backyard having their recess. And my daughter, as I said, was in her crib taking her nap. What I should mention is that her crib is at the back of the house, up against the backyard, exactly where the tree potentially could fall. So what did I do? There was so much noise from the chainsaw and from a machine that they had turned on to start grinding up into wood chips, the fallen tree, that I didn't think that I could make any sound or get their attention at that point. So I came off from looking over the fence, and I said, boys, come inside. Go ahead and have recess inside the house. And I went into my daughter's room, and she was already asleep. So at that moment, my gut instinct said, pick her up and take her to another room. Even though she's going to wake up and it's going to be difficult to put her back to bed, and she's going to miss this entire morning nap, which is critical for her to not be fussy for the rest of the day. In that moment, I decided against it, and I rationalized it away. And before I tell you the outcome, let me show you what I am talking about. That image you see there with the arrow is the height of is the tree that was being cut down. This is my roof line that you can see here. So you can estimate the height of the tree is about 25 feet tall, probably more. And this photo was taken a while back, and it's not laden with fruit as it is here. As I stood in the room thinking, I'm being paranoid. Sonia, there's no need to worry about this. Boom! There's a crash, and the tree does in fact fall. And it does in fact fall on some of my property. I immediately come out of the house, and the first scene that I see is a fire patrol person. I'm not sure what he was doing, but apparently he lives on the street and heard the commotion himself. He comes through the hole in the fence and immediately says, are you okay? He goes over to my neighbor who also had some damage, and he's asking, was anybody hurt by those coconuts falling from 30 feet? Are you okay? We say, yes, everything is fine, and he leaves. The next thing I observe is the shock, I think, and the embarrassment of the two men who were cutting down the tree. But let me explain to you why I rationalized away moving my daughter at that moment, and what has been haunting me since then of my rationalization and going over it in my mind. Number one, I rationalized there must be a license requirement to be a tree trimmer. I am licensed by Florida as a CPA, and nothing I do in my job could ever kill anybody. The most I could do is prepare a faulty tax return or issue financial statements that make no sense. So surely the state of Florida must license people who cut down trees. That in fact is not the case. Palm Beach Department of Business and Professional regulations does not have a license for tree trimmers. The county of Palm Beach recommends that you get licensed by, it's a group that certifies arborists. So it's not even particular to tree trimming, but they recommend that certification. I observe the age of the men. I said men of a certain age. Surely with age comes wisdom. I'm sure we all know from personal experiences and public life that is not the case. I saw the uniform. I thought surely they are in business, they must be successful, which is why they are still in business. They must be doing this well. Obviously, that was not the case. And I thought to myself, I also rationalized away my gut feeling. And I said, I have never cut down so much as a hedge. How could I, observing that scene, have come to the understanding of what was going to happen when two people who obviously are in this business could not or chose to not recognize what was going to happen? And this has been something that I've been pondering and I have been concerned about, because if I would rationalize away the life of my daughter at that point, which was at risk, what else am I capable of rationalizing away? And let me show you the end result of what happened. It seems minor in the photos, I think, but this was a piece of the fence that got broken. This is another angle that came through. And remember, this is coming from 30 feet. And what you don't see here is the continuation of that tree to the heart of the tree at the top with the branches and the coconuts that fell in line with my daughter's room. However, it fell in my neighbor's yard. So I was fortunate in this moment. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Sonia. That is hard. And I'm so happy no one got hurt. So thank you for sharing that. And yes, I would have assumed that someone had some license and are professionals to know better. So thank you for sharing that. So we have to remember that we have intuition and gut feelings, and sometimes we need to go by them, listen to them. So thank you. We are wrapping up our formal speeches, first half of our meeting, and moving on to our second half. But before we move on, what is the time results, the timing of our three speakers? Toastmaster Michelle?
I'm sorry, Toastmaster of the day. All three except one went over the time.
Which one went over?
Miss Toastmaster Sonia Garade was 7.43.95.
4-3.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. So this evening, we will be voting for Toastmaster Tim and Toastmaster Mark. Unfortunately, Sonia went over, so she will not be counted a part of the vote this evening. Are we ready to do the launch of the voting, or would we like to move on to the second part of the speech? Oh, Toastmaster, second half of the meeting. Okay, thank you. We're doing our poll. All set?
All set.
Okay, thank you. The second section of our meeting is table topics. This is an opportunity for our members to develop their extemporaneous speaking skills. This is impromptu speaking. We do not have guests, but we're looking forward to Woodland to speak this evening. We encourage everyone to participate and at least use 1 to 2 minutes of your speaking time to express yourself during this section. I will call Toastmaster Stacy Kessler to serve as our topics master this evening.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the Day. It is with great veneration that I get to be the table topics master this evening, as I get to give the members who are not assigned a significant speaking role the opportunity to speak during the meeting. I'm going to challenge each member with a subject. This evening's going to look a little bit different. I'm going to call on 3 of you. One is going to be the beginning of the story, one will be the middle of the story, and one will be the conclusion of the story. I'm going to start out the story, and the first person that I call will be the beginning. Tonight's theme is gratitude and joy. It is with great honor and joy, Shastri Stewart.
It's great honor and joy to be the president of the Wellington Toastmasters Club. Am I doing it correctly, Stacy? You suppose? Okay, just continue. Okay. And the reason I say that is because I'm among incredible individuals who are working on themselves to be better. I see the selflessness in them every single day. And that makes me even more motivated to be a better president, regardless of any life circumstances that might occur. I've also had wonderful mentors that have taught me and placed me on this platform to continuously improve on myself, to be more open, to be more loving, to understand that life is not all about logic, but about emotions as well. And now I'm supposed to pass, right? Pass it to the next person.
We're going to pass it to Woodland.
It is with great honor that I am a new member of Toastmasters, and it is great veneration that I am under the tutelage of Mr. Sasha Stewart, and I want to be the best version of myself that I can be. And that's all I had to say. I want to pass it to somebody else.
Woodland. Nope, we're not passing it. We're going back to Woodland. So I'm going to role play with you, Woodland. What makes Woodland happy? What brings joy to Woodland?
What brings joy to Woodland is
Go into your heart. Get out of your head and drop into your heart. Close your eyes even if you have to right now. Close your eyes and tell us. You don't even have to look. Tell us what brings joy to Woodland.
What brings joy to Woodland is work.
What kind of work does Woodland like to do?
Real estate.
What do you love about real estate, Woodland?
I like that someday I get to create a better life for my mother.
What's your mom's name, Woodland?
Ronid.
What do you love most about your mom?
I like that she's a hard worker.
What else do you love about her personality?
What else? I think she's the sweetest mom in the world.
What makes her sweet?
What makes her sweet is that she works hard. She worked hard to take care of me.
Do you have any brothers or sisters, Woodland?
Yes, I have two.
Two what?
Two brothers.
Brothers? What are their names?
Their names is Dalucci and Roderick.
Dalucci? What does that mean? Where's
I
that?
don't know. I don't know.
That's great. I love it. How old are your brothers?
They're 12 and 18.
Right. I bet you're a great big brother. What do you love about being a big brother?
Nothing. Nothing great about being a big brother. Because too much responsibilities.
You have a lot of responsibility being a big brother because your mom works so much.
Yeah, she works all day.
Yeah. What's your mom do?
She's a in-house nurse.
Okay.
Yep.
So takes care of people and their health.
Yep.
And what do you love about showing up here every Monday night? What's your favorite thing about showing up here on Monday nights?
My favorite thing about showing up here every Monday night is that I get to be better at my speech.
Great. Did this support you tonight, showing you how that you could move through a speech with the questions that were asked?
Yes.
Great. We're going to turn this over to Toastmaster Michelle.
Thank you.
Toastmaster Michelle.
Micheline.
Micheline.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You're gonna
Okay.
end it. You're gonna close this up
Okay.
and close it.
I'm sorry, was it Michelle or Micheline?
Oh, Michelle. Michelle.
Table topic master of the day. My apologies. Joy and gratitude. It should come naturally to most. During this season, we found that a lot of people suffered so much that joy and gratitude, a distant feeling for most. During Thanksgiving, just to share and be vulnerable with you guys, I was diagnosed with COVID-19 on Thanksgiving Day. The abhorrence of the diagnosis took my life over that day. I cried. I was so embarrassed that I was so careless. There was no joy for me this Thanksgiving. I sunk deep in a hole. But thank God for joy and gratitude and for friends. They punched holes in my darkness. They came to me with so much light and so much joy that I was going to be okay. I have the utmost veneration for my pastor, for my friends who came calling and knocking, and they brought all sorts of grass and herbs that you could think about for me, and I was able to brew that, and I'm speaking to you here today. So my utter despair gave way to joy and gratitude. Toastmaster of the day.
Please, you're on mute.
Thank you to all three of our table topics presenters this evening. Our first table topics presenter was Toastmaster and President Shastri Stewart. Our second speaker of the evening was our newest member, Toastmaster Woodland. Our third speaker of the evening was Toastmaster Michelle. I'm going to turn this meeting back over to our one and only beautiful Toastmaster, Micheline Nembhard.
Thank you, Topic Master. Great job. I love that. It was definitely different. And I always like when we step out and do something different. So that was great. Very creative. May I have a timer's report for our three presenters?
Toastmaster of the day, all speakers were within time. However, at the point where Toastmaster Stacy started asking questions, I stopped the time for Toastmaster Woodland at 47 seconds when he declared that he had done speaking. I do apologize. I didn't understand that I should have continued the timing.
That's okay. Thank you. We will move on to our third section of the meeting as we wrap up our meeting this evening. It's evaluation, the gift of instant feedback, a key part of success of Toastmasters program. Please welcome Toastmaster Jan Green.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster of the evening. Key part indeed. It's the most important part in any meeting. Let me present to you our first evaluator, Toastmaster Susanna, who is going to evaluate Tim.
Thank you, Toastmaster Jan Green. I think we all can agree that Tim Morrell is one of the veteran Toastmaster, and it shows. He's so calm and he put everybody at ease when he's speaking. It doesn't sound like he really prepared, but he still comes and does a good job when he is speaking. I think that's why Micheline picked him tonight, right, to do the last minute speech. I would like to go through some of the pros of this speech, and also some feedback on where some improvement might be beneficial. Tim, I really love the fact that you started with the question everybody had to pause and think about the fire insurance, the way that you are explaining the issue of the Affordable Care Act with an example. What that was very informative and very, very educational. You had the clarity of what you were talking about, loved your vocal variety. Again, going back to how comfortable you are with the topic and with the audience and the way you speak, it was the vocal variety was going up and down at a very good pace. So that was good. And the relevance, you used the example of when I was 21, I bought the car, and when I'm 61, now I have a cardiologist. Everybody smile. It's nothing to smile about, but everybody could relate to that. That was very good. And talking about where you can perhaps do some improvement is the structure. Even though it was really fun, educative to listen to the topic that you were given, wish there was more structure to that topic. The flow could have been a little better. And another feedback that I have is not necessarily something that you have to improve. I think it has to do with the topic in this country. As we all know, whenever you talk about healthcare, something like healthcare, either you are red or you're blue, right? You have to take a stand. So wish we don't have to talk about topics where you have to take a stand and make a statement, because we are a diverse group. We have different opinions on religion and politics. Whenever we are put on spot with a topic like this, I don't know if everybody felt comfortable. That was my only feedback, but nothing directly to you, Tim. It was just the topic again. Overall, I really enjoyed your speech. The entry opening of your speech was great. There was some humor there, very informative. I look forward to your more speeches in the future. Thank you. Back to you, Toastmaster. Actually, back to you, Hyun.
Thank you, Toastmaster Susanna. Next evaluator is Toastmaster Jack, who will evaluate Mark's humorous speech. Please welcome Jack.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. Well, Mark, now I know why you tried to make me watch that video at your house the other day, and I guess I would have. I might have been in it. Well, we expected nothing less than humor, and you gave us more than an abundance of great humor here. You started out and you kind of thanked us for the dignitaries, and I guess we didn't have any, although Hyan is a dignitary, so we're always honored to have her here. Your introduction, the way you went into it, your pauses were sensational. You had just enough of them, and they were steady. They were short, steady pauses, and they really worked well for your whole talk. Venerating the toilet seat, well, I guess we've all done that at one time or another, especially if you drank too much. But that you brought the veneration in, because there's certainly no fixture in the house that we share as much as we share the toilet seat. And you're helping us to bring humor to the whole thing. Isn't so important. I loved every bit of it. You're great at giving humor anyhow, but you really just kind of made this one extra fun and extra special. And I guess that's just your way of not taking anything too seriously. The altruism for your toilet seat, I never quite heard that one before, but I appreciated it. I loved the way you let us kind of run on. And what was the one you had about passing the air or something, as well as the toilet? There were just so many good one-liners that you were kept coming out with that I couldn't go. If there had been anything you could have added, I might have liked to seen a picture of a toilet seat or some little cartoonish something of a toilet seat. And maybe the toilet bolts, the infamous toilet bolts. I fixed plenty of those. I'm sure you have. That's probably where you've come up with that. But more often we fix them because our wives are saying, this thing's been broken for months. It didn't bother us, but we have to make them happy. And I do understand how that works. All in all, it was a great speech. Really appreciated it. And yes, you will be our winner of the humorous contest at the national level, I think. God bless. Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Toastmaster Jack. The last evaluator who will evaluate Sonia's speech is our Toastmaster, Ray. Please welcome Ray. Unmute yourself, Ray.
Oops. Thank you, Jan. Sonia, what a great speech you gave. Madam Toastmasters, fellow Toastmasters, guests, and especially Sonia, thank you for delivering such a great speech. Trust your gut. Now, I'm not sure Sonia, how many speeches you've given. I've heard you speak several times on here, but I'm pretty sure you've done several more than the ones that I've seen you in on there. One of the things I did enjoy about seeing in this speech was that you started it with a question. And I don't remember the exact question, but it was something like, when was the last time you had to trust your gut feelings? I believe it was something like that. And I myself have actually it just captures your attention right about when you see and when you get that, when you have a question, because you as an evaluator and as a listener overall, you have to start using your overall imagination here. Now you have something in your mind here when you're being asked a question. It put me basically to start listening and once again using my head while you were talking there. As you were telling your story, I had to picture it in my mind of what you were telling us. You also used images. there's a quote that says something like, a photo can tell 1,000 words. And you did it within your speech. It's one of the areas I'm actually trying to do for my next speech, is do something more where I could go about and take what I'm actually imagining, what I have up here in my head, and associate it with what you're actually even presenting this. And you actually nailed it there. You were able to show us actually something of what you were actually presenting. Gestures. One of the things I did actually pay attention to were your hand gestures during the speech on there. And it's another area as well that I myself am trying to go about it and improve. Now, you asked me to evaluate you in 2 areas. And one of those areas was clarity. Your message, trust your gut. It was very clear, and you said it throughout the whole speech. Check. The other area you asked was to evaluate you on was audience engagement. And I could tell you myself, I was well engaged throughout the story. I was able to picture it in my head, like as I mentioned earlier, from before you showed the pictures, once you showed the photos, and even after. Areas, so Sonia, as I mentioned, you did an awesome job with your hand gestures. An area that I think that you can make a better connection, and it's hard to do doing this through Zoom meetings, is showing your entire hand gestures, basically maybe taking a step back from the camera. A lot of times I saw them get cut from there, from the video. But once again, overall, you did a fantastic job with the speech. I look forward to evaluating the next speech.
Thank you, Toastmaster Ray. Thank you, all 3 evaluators. Madam Timer, please give us your report. Unmute yourself, Michelle. You are still muted, Michelle. Now you're good.
Okay, good. Madam Toastmaster, General Evaluator, the evaluations for Speaker 1 and 2 were within time. However, Evaluator 3 for Ms. Toastmaster Sonia Garade was over. It was timed at 3.40.31 seconds.
Thank you.
That's the end of my report.
Thank you, Michelle. Time flies when you're having fun, right, Ray? I am going to take reports from our functionaries. Let me start with Toastmaster Shastri. Shastri, you are Grammarian and Word of the Day Master, correct?
Yes. Thank you, Madam General Evaluator. My report. All right, the word of the week was veneration, and it was used 6 times. So thank you for everyone who used the words, especially Woodland, as being a new member, used it as well. A few awkward misuse of words were just slangs and fragmented sentences. So make sure whenever we speak in that we punctuate, pause, and we also used some filler words and double starts. So that's another thing that you could do, is pause instead of using a double start or filler word. Notable phrases. We had a lot of those. Tim said, at 21, I bought a car, and at 61, I had to get a cardiologist. Great play on words. Mark said, the toilet is the centerpiece of our lives. So true. He also said, been obsessed with asses, assometer, and wide ass lens. He also had a quote that I did not catch. I was trying to write it down, but I didn't catch the full quote, but it was a very moving quote. And he also ended with, you could get your ass peckered up, or let it pass like gas, or pass like wind, which I thought was a very clever play on words and how we use that. how we constructed those that statement. Sonia stated, rationalized away my gut feeling. I thought that was a great way of making that clear and what you thought. And also, Michelle said, utter despair gave way to joy and gratitude. That is my report, Madam General Evaluator.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Grammarian. Let me go to Shay, who's been quietly counting all the ahs and ums and you knows. Please tell us, how did we do? Unmute yourself.
So tonight, there was a total of 30 filler words used, including double starts. The notorious filler words for tonight were and there were a total of 4 Toastmasters that did not use any filler words. This is also challenging me to be very conscious. I'm in that number right now. So we have Heon Green, Sonia, Stacy Kessler, and Shay.
All right. Congrats, Shay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, the functionaries. I am going to give a very brief general evaluators report. Madam Toastmaster of the day, Micheline, I know a lot of work goes in to run the meeting, to prepare for the meeting and run the meeting. Thank you very much. And you moved us along very expertly. And before I do that, I'm going to ask, actually, I want to welcome Woodlin. You made the best decision. Welcome to the club. And Michelle, I noticed you jumping right in as soon as you became a member, and I saw you taking roles here and there, and I heard your speech, the first speech. I wish I did what you have done when I first became a Toastmaster. Welcome, you're doing a great job, Michelle. Now, let's see. We started our meeting on time. We are not going to end on time, but hey, that's fine. We are having fun. It's just a few minutes. Let's not be too hard on ourselves. Table topics. What a creative way to run the table topics. And I'm glad you picked Shastri, who is very seasoned, who knew how to run with it, rather than asking you, how do I do? What do I do? Tell me again. But Shastri, you ran with it quite well. Thank you, everyone, for fully participating in this meeting. And I have nothing but praises for our Wellington Toastmasters, our 3 evaluators. When I was listening to 3 speeches, I was thinking, oh my goodness, how are my evaluators going to evaluate these wonderful speeches? It's not easy. Ray, it's not easy, is it? But I'm glad you did it. We all stuck to the Oreo method, positive and room for improvement, and we ended with positive. Only thing I want to suggest to the evaluators tonight and future evaluators, when you are saying you did so well, Susanna, when you are saying such and such, give an example. Susanna, your hand gesture was wonderful when you said, oh my goodness, was something to that nature. So we want to give specific examples when we say you did well, or you want to improve on such and such. That's all I want to say. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster of the day.
Are we ready to do the poll?
Yes.
Or the results? Okay. We will do the poll.
And I am closing the polls in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Thank you.
Thank you. As we wrap up this meeting this evening, the theme of the meeting was joy and gratitude. And I wrote something. I said, family isn't always blood. It is the people in your life who want you in theirs and who want to see you grow and succeed. So I thank you from the bottom of my heart, Wellington Toastmasters members, for being a part of my life and always willing to support me in my journey. So I thank you this evening. And now I pass the meeting on to our president, Shastri Stewart.
Thank you, Michelle Lean. I believe we'd need to announce our winners. Are the votes ready?
Yes.
Okay.
So for our formal speech, we have Toastmaster Mark Kessler. Next, for our evaluations, we have Jack Miller. And last but not least, for our table topics, we have Michelle Hill. Back to you. Shastri, back to you.
Oh, okay, I wasn't sure who you were. It was Micheline or me, but thank you, Shay, for that. And we're actually running behind, so I'll be really brief of our announcements.
I also sent you something really quick in the box.
Okay. First of all, I want to thank everyone for joining us for our Monday night meeting. Like I said during my table topics session, I really do appreciate what you do every single day and what you do for yourself. More importantly, every single day about growing in our club. I'm so thankful to be part of this team, this caring team, and it really put some zest in my step to see all the motivation and commitment that you all give. Secondly, I would like to recognize Yon. It's her birthday also, so happy birthday yesterday, I believe was your birthday. So happy birthday, Yon. Hopefully you had a wonderful time with your family. But
And
we
happy
also
birthday
like to
to
recognize
you.
Sing to Jan now.
Oh, yes, that's
Everybody unmute, mute, unmute. We get to sing happy birthday. Come on, guys.
To you.
All right.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Yon.
Happy birthday to you. Ta ta ta.
Are we doing, are you one, are you two?
Confetti and everything. All right, wonderful. So Shay wrote this beautiful acknowledgement of Yon here I'd like to read. Yon Green has been a Toastmaster at Club Wellington for more than 5 years. She exemplifies what it means to be a legacy builder. She never ceases to inspire, engage, and hold the club high. She is notorious for giving ribbon-worthy table topic and pocket speeches. Champions her fellow Toastmasters with clear and supportive feedback, and she brings great joy and motivation to our club. Let's put our hands together for Yon Green.
Yay! That is awesome. Totally agree 100%.
Yes, absolutely. So lastly, I would like to talk about membership a little bit. So, you know, we have a certain amount of members, and I would like your help to invite at least 2 guests to our next meeting, if you can. Now, just let them know it's through Zoom, so they don't have to drive anywhere. Anyone that you know, a friend that this program might benefit, try to have them attend our next meeting next week. Next week, we need a Toastmaster. I'll be that. I'll be the Toastmaster for next week. So please go on the website as soon as possible to sign up for a role.
Isn't Shay?
And then
Hey,
also,
Shay.
oh, Shay,
Shay.
Shay, you're the Toastmaster?
Yes, yes, I have signed
Okay,
up.
go ahead. All right, perfect. And then December 14th, we have a special themed meeting, which I'll be the Toastmaster of. And we'll try to get that filled by this week. Hopefully we could get everyone signed up for that agenda as well. If we have no further announcements, I'll conclude our meeting. This meeting is adjourned.
Bye.
Bye. Good night, everyone.
Bye.
Bye, bye, everyone.